Hello everyone, welcome to Sunshine Haze. I go by Aja A. For those of you that don't already follow me on my film channel, I am a filmmaker and a journalist. Excuse the noise, I live in a house with 4 other people and I am filming this video in my room, so hope it's not too loud. I'll just wait. Hello everyone, welcome to Sunshine Haze. I go by Aja A. For those of you that don't already follow me on my other channel, I am a filmmaker and a journalist. However, I also am into astrology. As most of you know, or those of you that actually do follow, you know, the cosmic events, we are currently we have a full moon right now, and we are going into a Mercury retrograde. Recently, excuse me, as things have been getting a little crazy and a little weird, I find myself saying a lot, oh, you know, we're coming up on a full moon, or, you know, it's because we're in Mercury retrograde, or we're about to have a Mercury retrograde. And the people that I talk to don't necessarily really study astrology, so I get asked a lot, well, what does that mean? What are you saying? So I said, hey, why not make a video and I'll send it to my friends that ask me these questions. We are in a transformative time. We are now in December. It is the end of the year. With that being said, the tensions are already high right now. Like, the energy is already kind of like, oh my gosh, got to get everything done. However, what we've got going on in, you know, the solar system makes it a little more intense, to say the least. You know, as I said, we are currently in a full moon. I was going to do this video a couple days ago, but since we will be going into the full moon today, I'm just going to post it as soon as I finish doing it. We're going into a full moon, and we are also going into a Mercury retrograde, and Mercury will turn retrograde actually some hours before the full moon, but it all happens within the same day, which is within this next 24 hours. The full moon, we've been feeling the low battery. Filming videos on your phone, I gotta, you know, get this camera fixed. We've been feeling the effects of the full moon for the past few days. The shadow of the full moon tends to last, like, you know, a few days, up until a week, more so a few days. It's when it's a little bit stronger before and a few days after. And then we also have been in the shadow of the Mercury retrograde, which is usually a couple to a few weeks before the retrograde and a few weeks after. So you've noticed, like, people have been a little off leading up to today. Within the weeks before, it's because we've been in a retrograde, if you do believe in astrology. And then if you've noticed in the past couple days, people might have seemed a little bit crazier than normal, and that is the full moon. The full moon, what is a full moon? So the full moon is what it sounds like. It's when the moon is as illuminated as it will be for our eyes to see. It looks like a big old glowing circle in the sky. It's the full moon. The full moon is also actually one of 2 times when the sun, the moon, and the earth are in alignment, and the other time will be the new moon. So today we're in perfect alignment with the sun and the moon, and that's why the moon will be illuminated. So what happens when we have full moons? As far as science goes, we know that the tides are affected. I've also read stuff about animals being affected, a lot of animal hospital visits. I'm sure you have read that stuff before too, but what happens to us? So the moon is associated, in the zodiac, it's associated with the sign of Cancer. Go Cancer, Team Cancer. Cancer is ruled by the planet, the moon, and the moon in Cancer is a very emotional sign because the moon governs our emotions. So that being said, when the moon is full, that means our emotions are full. Our cup runneth over with emotions. They're full to the brim. This full moon is the last full moon of the year. As I said, this energy is very tense. We got to get everything done right now. This last full moon of the year is actually in Gemini. Now, Gemini is it's actually the sign right before me. I was supposed to be born on June 20th, the last day of Gemini, but I held out. I'm Cancer all the way, man. Gemini is a very curious energy. The sign of Gemini deals a lot with duality and opposition. So with this full moon being in Gemini, it's going to be a very inquisitive time. It's going to be a lot of wondering this or that. Should I do this? Should I do that? Why did I do this? Why did I do that? How is this going to turn out? Well, what if I do this or what if I do that? We're going to be shedding a light on a lot of these questions that maybe have been building up, or maybe that we've been avoiding. They're all going to be coming to the surface now. So with this full moon, like I said, you can expect to be a little confused. You might be a little more confused within these next few days than you will be for the rest of the month, or you were leading up to these few days. And as we are in a full moon, you can expect, of course, some super high highs, lots of, when you're happy, you're really, really happy, or when people are happy, they're really happy, sending out really positive energy. Some really low lows. You might find yourself really lethargic if you do tend to get down. You might also find yourself crying at, Love and Hip Hop or something like that, something ridiculous. It's all with emotions. The moon is full, so the emotions are running high. They're just kind of out of whack now. Also, in addition to this being a full moon, the last full moon of the year, it is also the supermoon. And that just means that the energy of this full moon will be a lot more intense than any other full moon throughout the year. Got my notes. Sorry. So we've got the full moon. That's crazy enough as it is. Luckily, that only lasts, a few days. This Mercury retrograde thing, though, guys, lasts a little bit longer, and it can be a little bit more annoying than this full moon that we're in. So as I said, we are actually going into Mercury retrograde for real today, a little bit before the full moon. We get the full moon in the afternoon. The retrograde maybe comes while we're sleeping, or maybe in the morning. I'm actually not sure. I have it written down somewhere in my notes, but it all looks like chicken scratch to me now. So what's Mercury? Mercury is a planet. We all, basic stuff that we learned in school. It makes it around the sun in 88 days. And so while we're going around the sun, Mercury goes into retrograde 3 to 4 times a year. What is a retrograde? Again, it is what it sounds like. However, in this case, it's more of an optical illusion. So when Mercury's in retrograde, it looks like it's spinning backwards to us. So this planet of Mercury, as I said, the moon rules our emotions. Mercury is actually associated, or it governs our communications, and that trickles down to, verbal communication, written communication. It also branches off into, our technologies, our travel, and our scheduling. So with Mercury being in retrograde, that means it's going backwards. It's not moving in the way that it should be. So when we're in retrograde, and if you don't really believe in astrology, start to pay attention to this stuff. When you notice Mercury's in retrograde, start paying attention to this stuff. When Mercury is in retrograde, communication is all left off. You might notice that your technology starts to glitch a little bit. My phone was it's been glitching really bad for the past few weeks, and I was sitting here like, man, listen, Apple, I'm not buying this iPhone 8, this iPhone 10, or whatever the hell it is that y'all are trying to sell me. I've updated my phone several times. Come on, I don't want a new phone. But then I thought about it, and I said, oh, we're in retrograde. My Wi-Fi has been moving hella slow. So far that's it. I'm sure some other things will start messing up soon. So your technology might start to glitch a little bit. Travel, flight cancellations, flight delays. If you haven't already made your travel plans, just be mindful of the fact that they may be kind of crazy. And then scheduling, you might find that your punctuality during retrograde is just all out of whack. It hella hard to get anywhere on time or get anything started on time. So those are the basic aspects of the Mercury retrograde. And that happens for like 3 weeks. We're in it for 3 weeks, and then you have the shadow period a couple weeks or a few weeks before, and then a shadow period a few weeks after. This retrograde is also the last one of the year, and it's happening at the same time as the full moon. This particular retrograde is in Sagittarius. Now, Sagittarius is a philosophical sign. It's known as like the traveler, the wanderer. So with this retrograde being in Sagittarius, you'll find that this may be a bit of a nostalgic time. You may be thinking about things that you did earlier in the year, or plans that didn't work out, or things that you may have always wanted to do, or relationships that may have fallen by the wayside. You'll really be thinking about what you've done, why you've done it, how you've done it, and how to move on to the next step or the next phase in life. This retrograde being in Sagittarius is, although Mercury is actually associated with Gemini, which is, opposite the chart of Sagittarius, it's not going to be the only thing with that is that it might be a little intense. It might shake things up. So things that you may not have been thinking about may come to the surface. May not necessarily be a super horrible, turbulent time, or tumultuous time. Now, however, with the Mercury retrograde and the full moon happening together, is actually a little bit of a positive aspect to that. So with the full moon, it's full, it's bursting with all this emotional energy. The retrograde, however, is a receding energy. So it kind of lessens the effect of the full moon. So you're not going to be, although it is a supermoon, you're not going to be, crying every time you walk out your house. It's going to take, like I said earlier, with the full moon and the decisions, and then retrograde being a little bit nostalgic, it's going to take us to these decisions. Excuse me. I don't know why my throat is so dry, and I'm not going to do another take. I'm just going to upload this. I feel like I need to get this up on the internet, so sorry, y'all. Forgive me for clearing my throat and sounding like a man. My throat is dry. Anyway, so as I was saying, with this Mercury retrograde being in Sagittarius, and this nostalgic energy of it, coupling it with the decisions and the curiosity of the Gemini full moon, you're going to be thinking about things that, you're going to be thinking about the past, thinking about life. This is going to be a very reflective time for pretty much everyone. You're going to be thinking about life, and you're going to be thinking about how to move forward, and whatever is going on during this time, although you may not know it, it's going to be setting you up for that next step. And that next step is 2018. And with those two aspects coming together, it's going to be a lot of clarity that comes about from this retrograde and this full moon. And you may not notice it during the time, but come around like January, you'll start to see, things that were happening in December are affecting things happening in January, and it's going to be all for the better. Like we're coming into a very fruitful time, good positive energy coming into this new year. So with these two planetary aspects going on, excuse me, with the communication aspect, it's very important to listen. Listen carefully, listen closely, and actually hear what people are saying. Don't do the whole, it's going to go in through one ear and out the other. Really take in people's words. when you are speaking or when you're communicating to others, however, typing, email, text message, whatever, think about what you say before you say it. I have that problem where I don't really have a filter, and I don't think I say what's on my mind. That may be a little difficult for me during this time. That may actually cause some problems, some miscommunications. Things may be misconstrued coming from me. So think about what you say to people, how you say it, you know, the context of your words. The effect may be a little bit more intense, or possibly a little more negative than it would be normally. For this full moon, especially with it being the full moon, if you are into doing full moon intentions and releasing things, and you've been holding off or you forgot last time, now is the time to do it. Anything you really, 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 really don't want to carry into this next year, you got to get rid of it now. Let it go now. Write it out, speak it out, do whatever you got to do. But during this full moon is the best time to do it. The energy is full, and once this full moon goes away, we're releasing it, and it's the last one of the year. So we want to get rid of everything that's been going on this year before we go into the next year. Let's not carry any of that over into 2018. Again, as I stated earlier, the effects of the full moon shadow, it's going to be for the next couple days. The full moon is actually tomorrow, on the 3rd. So, you know, around the 6th, 7th, these emotional waves will start to wane off. And then this Mercury retrograde ends a couple days before Christmas, the 22nd or the 23rd. However, we'll still be feeling a little bit of residual effects going into like the second week of January. But once mid-January rolls around, it's gonna be on and popping, let me tell you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this video, or if you felt like this information was something that you can use, feel free, please like it. Click that little thumbs up on the bottom there. And also feel free to subscribe to the page. I'm going to be posting a few more videos. I'm not sure, whatever comes to me. I'm thinking about doing a video on Saturn in Aquarius. We are in the age of Aquarius, which I don't know too much about that. I'm kind of excited to do some research on that. I may do some videos on, you know, the horoscopes. I am definitely thinking about doing some videos on life path numbers, and definitely master numbers, because I'm a master number myself. I'm an 11. So if you are interested in anything that I just said, if you like the video, actually literally like the video, and go on and subscribe. That way you can keep up with what I have going on. Thank you. Happy holidays and Happy New Year. I'm sure I'll post something before the new year, but if you know, don't subscribe, if you didn't like the video, or if you just never want to click on one of my videos again, happy holidays, Happy New Year.